Let me show you how to make this top from cutting to stitching. A quick step-by-step tutorial, a very detailed video on how to achieve this and every details in this project. So if you want to see how this was made, keep on watching and you're going to see every single details on how to do this, on how you too can make this by yourself. You will need a fabric. This is what I'm going to be using. You'll need a measuring tape, some chalks, and of course the scissors. Now here are the measurements that I made use for myself. So first of all, I'm going to fold my fabric into two. Now I'm going to mark this place out. This is the length of the top and here my finger is the center front. So I'm going to mark out the armhole measurement divided by 2 and I'm going to mark out the neck width of 3 inches. I'm going to come down here by 0.7 inches. Now from this point to this point, I'm going to mark a straight line. Now from this point, I'm going to take down my armhole measurement divided by 2. And I'm going to connect it down. Now at this point here, I'm going to mark out 1 inches and I'll place my measuring tape in 90-degree angle. Mark out 1 inch and I'm going to connect it in a curve way. If you have a French curve, make use of it. Now here I'm going to be placing my bust measurement divided by 4. And remember, in my measurement, I've already measured out how big I want the shirt to be on my body. So I'm going to take that measurement down. And I'm going to be adding 0.5 inches allowance to that. So what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to take down the length of the top. And I'm going to add 1 inches hemming allowance to that. Now down here I have 1 inches left, which is what I really wanted. So I'm going to connect it like this. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to be cutting it out like this. So now here I'm going to remark my neck width. I'm going to mark 4 inches and I'm going to slant it like that and mark out 9 inches. That's the neck depth for the front. For the front top, I'm going to connect it in a V shape. Now I'm going to mark out the neck depth for the back, which is 1 inches. And the neck depth for the back is just a round neck. So I'm just going to create a round neck there. I'm going to add my 0.5 inches allowance for joining the shoulders together. Then I'm going to cut it out. If you look closely, you see I just cut out only the back, that's the back neck, because I want to use this to trace out the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, from this point, I'm going to mark down my bust point. My own is 12 and I'm going to mark out my bust span. Mine is 4.5. Then I'm going to add another 1 inch because I don't want the dart to start at the top of the nipple. So I now have 5.5 inches. I'm going to extend this line. Now here I'm going to mark out that 1 inch. I'm going to be taking it out. So ½ inch on this side, ½ inch on this side. And I'm going to connect it. This is going to be my bust dart. That's why I added that 1 inch at the hemming area. I'm going to repeat the same thing again for the other side. So now here are my darts. So what I'm going to do next now is that I'm going to cut out the back. So I folded another fabric into 2 and I made sure that I have like 3 inches allowance in the center back, because on the pattern that we are making, the style that we are making, the back has this button kind of effect on it. So I'm going to have like 3 inches extra. Then I'm going to place my front pattern and I'm going to mark down 8 inches. This is going to be the collar. 8 inches the collar for the shirt. That's the, I think it's called collar. the yoke. I mean to say it's not collar, it's called the yoke. Now that I remember it is called the yoke. So 8 inches is going to be for the yoke, and I'm going to add 0.5 inches there, and I'm going to cut it out. Now this down place, I'm going to cut it out straight. I don't need to slant it. I'm going to cut it out straight because I won't be adding any data at the back. I'm going to slit open the center back. Now this is what I have. So here now is going to be the allowance for the button and the button plackets and all that. So I'm going to keep this one aside. I've folded another fabric into two. I'm going to mark out 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to place the front pattern to cut out the yoke for the back. So I'm going to make sure that this line aligns with my 0.5 inches allowance that I marked there. And I'm going to cut out the neck, that's the back neck. So after cutting it out, this is what I have for the yoke for the back. I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to cut out the front neck line, which is the V neck for the front. So I'm just going to place everything in place, and I'm going to cut it out. Now this is the yoke for the back. I'm going to be cutting out facings for this, but before then, let's cut out the sleeve. I'm going to mark out 1/2 inch here, and I'm going to place the length of the sleeve, which I made 10 inches, but for if you want to make yours, please make it to be 8 or 7 inches. I later found out that the length of my sleeve made the top to look somehow, so shorten the length of your sleeve. Then I came down by 4.5 inches and I created my curve. If you have armhole curve, if you have a armhole French curve, make use of it. Now I'm going to add my seam allowance to this, and I'm going to cut it out. This is going to be my sleeve. I'll notch the center of the sleeve. Now I'm going to excuse me, I'm going to be placing another pattern, and I'm going to cut out my facing. This is the facing for the front, and I'm going to keep it aside. I'm going to cut out another facing for the yoke, that's the back. Now I have two. This is the front, this is the back pattern with the yoke, this is the front pattern with the facing, and here is my sleeve. Now this I'm going to use to make that turn up. Now what I'm going to do first now is that I'm going to fold this into 1 inches into 2. I'm going to fold another 1 inches into 2. If I fold it, I'll have 2 inches. I'm going to sew it down. Then the extra 1 inch is going to be kind of an overlap. If I overlap it on top of each other, as if you're making a shirt. Now here is it. I'm sorry my fabric is not looking that clean. It's not looking that neat because we don't have light. I would have ironed it for you to be giving that perfect look. Now I'm going to place the front, and I'm going to place the front with the facing right side, pin it down, and I'm going to stitch it round. After stitching it, I'm going to clip it. Then I'm going to turn to the facing. I'm going to shift the seam allowance to the facing side, and I'm going to top stitch in the facing very close to the stitch. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to hold my bust dart. My bust dart. I'm going to hold it down with a pin, and I'm going to dart the sides. I'm going to repeat the same thing for this other side as well. I'm going to hold it down with a pin, and I'm going to sew the darts. So after sewing the dart, this is what I have. You can see it. Now for the back, I'm going to place one of the fabric on top of the other one, and I'm going to pin it down as if I've already added my buttons, but I'm not, because I want to add the yoke. So I'm going to get the yoke now, and I'm going to place it right side facing right side with the main yoke. Then I'm going to get the facing, and I'm going to fold this one down, wash carefully. I'm going to get the facing, then I'm going to place it down like this. So the facing right side, the main cloth wrong side, and the main facing right side. You can see how I have it there. Then I'm now going to place everything in order, and I'm going to pin it down. So once I finish pinning it down, I'm going to sew it on that 0.5 inches. After stitching it, this is what I'd have. You can see how it looks. It looks neat on the inside, it looks neat on the outside. See the inside. Now what I'm going to do next now is that I'm going to trim off these places to make it to be neat. I don't want an even seam, so I'm just going to stitch it, cut it out. What I'm going to do next now is I'm going to fold this because I want to sew the neck. So I'm going to place the neck like this. My aim is to get it right side facing right side, and I'm going to pin it down. I'm going to repeat the same other thing this side, and I'm going to pin it down. I'm going to pin down all the neck. I'm going to pin down all the neckline. Then I'm going to sew it. After sewing it, I'm going to clip it, turn it to the right side. Now this is what it looks like. Had it been we had light, I would have ironed this. It would have been very neat. But anyway, let's continue. Now on the right side facing right side, the front pattern and the back pattern, I'm going to hold the shoulders together, and I'm going to flip the facing to the back like this, and I'm going to pin it down. Don't worry if you're confused. I'm going to show you another, and I'm going to show you excuse me, I'm going to show you again how I did this on the other side. I'm going to try to explain it in a much easier way for you to understand, but if you get it, you're good to go. Now I'm going to pin this side as well. Now I'm going to get this other side. Now watch carefully and you understand what I'm doing. This is the back, the facing for the back, and the main fabric for the back. I have two there. Now I'm going to get the front pattern, that's the front top. I'm going to hold it, the shoulders together. Then I'm going to flip the front. Watch carefully. I'm going to flip the front facing to the back. I'm doing as if I'm tucking everything inside. Then I'm going to pin it down. If you count it, what I'll have here is 4, 2 for the back. You can see it, 1 for the front and 1 for the front facing. Then I'm going to pin it down and stitch it down. I hope you understand what I did, but if you don't, you can as well play it back too. Watch carefully. Now I'm going to stitch down the shoulders. Once I finish stitching down the shoulders, I'm going to clip that neck area because I want it to lay flat. I don't want it to bulge out. So I'm just going to clip it. That's remove the excess fabric that I have there. You can see how it looks. So I'm going to do the same thing on this other side as well. I'm going to cut out this side so that it will relax. Now the essence of this particular pattern is that if you turn it to the wrong side, it will still be neat. If you turn it to the right side, it will still be neat. That's the essence of this one. Now here is the top, this is the front. You can see the v-neck, the round neck for the back. So we're going to open up the armhole area, get one of our sleeve, the notched place, that's the center of the sleeve. I'm going to be pinning it down to the shoulder seam, and I'll go ahead to pin down all the sleeve through the armhole. Now if you watch carefully, you will see that I have excess here. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave it like that. Now once I finish pinning it down, this is what I have. I'm going to stitch here, and I'm going to repeat the same thing on this other side as well. I'm going to pin down the sleeves, and after pinning it down, because I am having the same measurements, I'm going to still be having that excess on the border, so I'm just going to stitch it down. So once I finish stitching it down, this is what our sleeves looks like. So what I'm going to do next now is that I'm going to hem the sleeve. So I will be hemming it with the 1 inch that I have there. That's the 1 inch that I added. I'll pin it down and I will stitch it down. Remember I said if you want your top to look sharp, please shorten the length of the sleeve, make it 8 inches. Mine was 10 inches and I didn't actually like how it looks. Now I'm going to cut out these pieces here. Don't worry about the length, just worry about the width. The width is to be 1 inches. The width is to be 1 inches. So here I have the sleeve already hemmed. Now this is this. I stitch it down like this and I stitch it like this. I'm going to cut out the excess. This is what we are going to use for the turn up. That's the turn up on the sleeve. So I'm going to cut out this excess that I have here. I'm going to notch this place because I don't want to have excess fabric staying there. So I'm going to turn this to the right side. I'm going to turn it inside out. So after turning it inside out, this is what I have. If you have light, please, as you're sewing, be ironing. It makes the work looks neater and easier. So I'm going to top stitch on this round. After top stitching on the other one, this is what it looks like now. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to measure the length. I want it to be 9 inches in length. So I'll mark out the center of the sleeve from the wrong side. Now I'm going to be marking out 3.5 inches here. 3.5 inches. I'm going to mark it out. Now I'm going to get these things for the placket. So I'm going to place it down, leaving like 1 inch extra here, and I'm going to pin it down. So once I pin it down, I'm going to stitch on it. So I'm now going to turn to the right side, get the center of the sleeve, and I'm going to be measuring 4 inches upwards. I'm going to measure 4 inches and I'm going to mark it out like that. Now I'm going to bring out that placket down, and I'm going to raise it up like this, and I'll make sure that I have like 1 inch extra up there, and I'm going to pin it down and stitch. If you watch carefully, you'll notice that it's kind of holding, it's not that free. That's the kind of design I really want to leave on the sleeve. Now this is it. I've already finished sewing the sleeve. Now what we are going to do next now is to shape the top. Yes, you're going to shape the top. So I'm going to turn everything and hold it right side facing right side. So I'm going to hold this like this, and I'll start pinning it down. So after pinning it down, I'm going to mark out the 1 inch, the ½ inch allowance, but here I made it 1 inch because I realized that I have excess fabric there. So I'm just going to mark out ½ inch on the sleeve and 1 inch on the bodice. Now I'm going to stitch it down. Once I'm done stitching it down, this is what it looks. Now I'm going to remove one pin from this one because it's time to hem the top. We're already done with this tutorial, honestly. So I'm going to hem the top using the 1 inch. That I'm going to fold in ½ inch, then I'll fold in ½ inch again. I'm going to do the same throughout the hem. I'm going to fold it like that, pin it, and once I'm done pinning it, I'll go to the machine to stitch it down. So I'm going to stitch it down, and after stitching it down, this is it. This is what it looks like. Now this top is done. This is the front of the top, and this is the back of the top. You can let you put buttons in the back of yours if you want, but me, I'm going to be putting in beads. Just watch, you'll see it. I'm going to be putting in beads, but I have to mark out how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to be taking the measurement by 2 inches. So I'm just going to be marking out 2 inches until I get to the down part. I hope this tutorial was helpful. I tried my best to make it to be very simple. I tried my best to show every single step. Now here I have 2 beads. I have one that is brown in color and I have one that is lilac in color. Now I later chose the lilac one because it has kind of color there. So I'm going to be working with the lilac color. Now I have this my machine, and I'm going to use it to hold it down. I'll place it as if I'm making a button and a buttonhole. Now this my machine. I have this machine. I've had this machine for like it's more than 5 years now, but I don't normally use it all the time. So now is the perfect time for me to use it, and I'm going to be using the beads to hold the buttons. Now once I get to the down part, I'll be leaving some space, like 3 inches space. Now this is what the back look like. It's very beautiful. I'm going to use the beads to hold the turn up on the sleeve. I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to be using it to hold it as well, so that everything will be in uniform. So that's what you see me doing here. I'm going to remove the pin and I'm going to use the bead to hold it down. Please, do you enjoy this tutorial? Did I try to simplify everything? I know it's long, but in order for me to simplify everything, I have to make it to be long. Now, this is the shirt. I'm now going to iron it. I'm going to give it a good press. Then after pressing it, I'm going to wear it and show you guys how it looks. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and also drop a nice comment for us in the comment section. Happy sewing!